and then you get to watch a YouTube video, like something on my channel. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Tara East. I'm a writer, blogger, YouTuber, and the author of the mystery novel Every Time He Dies. And in this week's video, I'm kind of tackling the questions of how do you make yourself write? How do you even finish a first draft? How do you actually get the writing done? So lately, I've been doing these Q&A sessions with my students who do in-person workshops with me. And at the end of every class, I get them to ask me any questions that they may have about the writing life or the business of writing. Now, some of the questions I get are literally about the actual act of writing. So how do you get yourself to sit in the chair and actually do the work? Now, of course, I've been filming videos for this channel for a long time and I've had to figure this out for myself. So I have some sort of go-to answers here. So I always recommend that students read Steven Pressfield's The War of Art, as well as his other book, Do the Work. Really, any of Steven Pressfield's non-fiction books about writing are gold. And learning about Pressfield's idea about resistance and how to work through it can be really useful for some people. The other thing I recommend is that people figure out their why. Why do you want to write in general, and why do you want to write this book specifically? This is something you can come back to whenever you feel that resistance towards writing. I also talk about figuring out a writing routine that works for you. What time of day would you like to write? What would make doing the work more fun or pleasant? Are you more motivated by, say, reaching a particular word count or time spent? Are you an intuitive discovery writer, or are you someone who works better with a plan? These are useful things to figure out about yourself. I also share how important it is to set small, realistic goals, like only writing for 15 minutes or only writing 100 to 200 words during any writing session, until you feel more comfortable to start building that up. My dogs are play fighting behind me, so we might have to close the door. I also talk about using the reward system as a way to bribe yourself into writing. So let's say you write 200 words and then you get to watch a YouTube video, like something on my channel. Or you can listen to your favorite song or go for a walk, whatever you think of as a reward. Now, those are my sort of standard go-to quick responses when somebody asks, how do you actually sit down and do the writing? And I feel like these are really practical and actionable steps. But when I say this to students, I almost feel this like disappointment seeping from them when I share these strategies. And I think maybe why they feel disappointed is because I'm not entertaining the idea that writing books is a big mystery, and people who have become published authors have somehow figured out this secret that the rest of us aren't aware of. Now, this whole exchange really reminds me of two quotes. So the first one is, "Opportunity is missed by most people because it is dressed in overalls and it looks like work." The second quote it reminds me of is, "When you do the work gets done. There is no magic to it." So let's go with those three basic questions again. How do you make yourself write? You open up a Word document or a notebook and you start writing out your story. How do you finish your first draft? You repeat step 1 again and again until the story is done. How do you get writing done? By choosing to write instead of doing something else. Now, the next thing I'm going to say is kind of messy, and some of these points might even be slightly contradictory. So part of being a writer is also being disciplined. Now, if you don't like the word discipline, that's fine. Choose something else like consistent or practice, like you are consistent with your writing, you have a writing practice, it's something you return to again and again. Now, you don't have to write every day, but I personally recommend that you write often. For me, at least, it makes it easier on the practical level because I'm keeping the story in my head. It also makes the act of writing easier because it's an embedded part of my routine, and skipping a writing session feels kind of like missing an appointment. Now, some people are genuinely binge writers. They may write for 4 days like crazy, and then they don't write anything for 6 months. Now, for some people, this really is their process. But you need to be really honest with yourself about whether this is how you write, or whether you're just using this fancy label as a way to procrastinate. So much about figuring out how you get your writing done really comes down to personal psychology. Are you the type of person who can only create when you're up against a tight deadline? Or do you prefer to create when you have lots of time and space and no pressure, like me? I hate deadlines. And ironically, because of that, I usually get my work done well ahead of a deadline because I hate deadlines. You need to figure out, are you good at meeting goals that you set for yourself? Or are you better at meeting goals and finishing tasks that other people have assigned to you? Or are you the kind of person that rebels against all goal setting, the kinds of goals you set for yourself and the kinds of goals that people set for you? Are you the type of person who needs accountability? Can you only do tasks when you know why you are doing them and you fully understand what is involved? Are you only willing to do tasks when they seem easy and achievable? Looking at how you've achieved major goals in the past could provide you with some useful clues, but it's also worth doing a little bit of a digger deep into this and consider whether, when you have achieved goals in the past, did you actually enjoy that process or was it a really stressful time? Sorry, my puppy's come in, so I'm just scratching her. Play out, come on, out, out, out. But here's the thing, writing is ultimately supposed to be fun. We're making up stories and we're using our imagination. This is playtime. Now that being said, of course writing isn't always fun, and if we want to finish our novels, we need to learn how to write even when it isn't fun, even when we don't really feel like it. Now here's the thing that I don't know that people always talk about. Working through creative challenges can actually be really satisfying. Figuring out how to fix plot holes, dull characters, and cliche plot lines, that's really engaging work, and that is a type of fun. Now, interestingly, this is not something that I need, but it's something that some writers do need. They need to give themselves permission to write, because some part of them agrees, or at least subconsciously, they believe in the social idea that making art is a waste of time. Now, if you actually believe that deep down in your bones, then you probably will struggle to prioritize writing over cleaning the house or watching Netflix. Because, you know, those are two really important activities. I'm deeply invested in the fact that your wardrobe is color coordinated. So all of this is to say, you make time for writing and you finish your books by combining these two things, practical strategies with your personal psychology. What beliefs do you need to challenge in order to believe that writing is worth spending time on? How have you achieved things in the past? Was that enjoyable? What motivates you in general? Figuring out these, as well as what strategies will help you, is how you're going to get there, how you're going to reach the end. So that's all I have for you this week. I hope you enjoyed this video, which is basically a mashup of all of my general writing advice. If you would like to leave any comments, please do so. I'd love to hear them. And if you want even more writing advice, you can of course check out the other videos on this channel, as well as the blogs that I have on taraeast.com. While you're there, please feel free to join my email newsletter. When you do, I'll send you a free gift, plus you'll get a newsletter in your inbox every single Thursday morning, including a note by me, links to that week's blog and video, a quote of the week, and some resources that I've recently loved and think you will too. Thank you so much for being here and for watching this video. I hope you found it motivating. Now go do some writing because the world actually does need more books.